Hey amigas, welcome back to another one of my videos. For those that don't know me, my name is Beverly, and for those that are returning, thank you guys so much for joining me today. In today's video, we are going to show you guys how to make your own custom stickers today. Yes, you guys heard that right, and not using your Cricut today, but using your Starcraft Solo. Now, for those that don't know, I've had this machine for about a year and 8 months now, and I definitely love it. I've learned a lot from it, and here I am trying to teach you guys new ways to actually use this machine, which I know you guys will love. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, amigas, so let's go ahead and get started. First things first, you want to double check and make sure that your software with Starcraft Create is actually up to date on the most current version. Now, in order for you to check, you can go ahead and go up to Help, About Starcraft Create, or open up your program and immediately you should version come up. Now, if it's not up to date, well, this is Windows, so I'm on the 1.024 version. You do want to make sure it's up to date, so we're going to head over, and I'm going to leave the link down below in the description. This is a Starcraft Solo and Create support blog from Sandy. She's amazing. She has a whole bunch of articles on tips, tricks, and everything that you need to know about Starcraft Create and the Solo. Now, you will want to go down to section 3 here, and this is where you're going to see the most up-to-date updates for Create, Mac or Windows version. If you click on Windows and you just hover over it with your cursor, it's going to tell you what version this is on. So here you can see it's 1.024. And if you're on Mac version, the newest version should be 1.022. So make sure you are on the most current versions. Again, I will leave this page for the blog linked below. It is super helpful. These are the 4 Facebook support groups and tutorials and test cuts and a whole bunch of stuff. So definitely recommend you check this out if you do have a Solo. Now, we're going to go ahead and jump right into Starcraft Create. I'm going to open up a new project and I'm going to label it. In this case, am making some stickers for a local business here. So I'm just going to go ahead and label my project Mendoza's Tacos. And the actual mat size that you're going to be using is going to depend on the paper size that you're going to be using for this project. In this case, since it's sticker paper, I'm using 8.5 by 11 paper. So just think of your mat size as your media size or your paper size. That is just the best bet for you to kind of get used to this. Okay, in this occasion, you are going to make sure your mat size is your paper size. So we're just going to go ahead and open it. Now, immediately once you open it, you're going to come across the screen just that this is all going to be turned off. So in order for you to turn on your print margins, it's going to tell you where exactly your printer is going to cut off. So you don't want to add any images or designs going past this little dotted margin because that is your print margin. If it's off of it, then your images are going to be cut off, okay, when you're printing. Now, the next thing that you do need to turn on is your registration marks, which are these little squares on the corners. These are my registration marks. These are very important to turn on because they will actually be needed. So whenever your Solo is reading those, it's going to know where to cut exactly, okay? So this is a print and cut tutorial for sticker making. Just keep that in mind. Now, these could look a lot bigger in your case if you have them set that way. If you guys need help, I can refer you to another video where you guys can change these. But for now, we're going to leave them as is. Now, here you can see it shows your printer that you're going to be using. If you do plan to use a different printer, all you want to do is go up to File, Print Setup, and then you're going to just change your printer. So I have 2 printers that print regular, which are my inkjet printers. It's my Canon and my pigment printer, which is my Epson EcoTink 2803 printer. If I go over to my Canon, just watch as the print margin gets smaller because every printer has different print margins. Some can do borderless, some cannot. So it will depend on your printer how much space you actually have to use up. Unlike your Cricut, you're still limited to a very small space sometimes with the 8.5 by 11 paper. But if you have your Starcraft Solo and a printer that can do borderless, that's even better. So I'm going to just click OK and look how the border gets smaller. You can see how these were pushed in more. So that means I have less space to print, which I really do love my Canon printer as well. But in this case, I don't like to use it because when I'm doing stickers, I want to be able to fit as much as I can, so I try to use my pigment printer for this one. So there you go, they're pushed back now. Now to the designing part. This is the interesting part that a lot of people want to know because it's easy for you just to bring on the design ready to go. Like in my case, I have this sticker that's already made into a circle shape, which I designed this already ready to go in Adobe Illustrator, just because I love designing in that program a lot more than Create, which is the truth. But we are not going to use this one today. We're going to just show you from start to finish how to make your own. Just quickly to show you, if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the ninth panel down or ninth button down to your left is your shapes. If you hold on it long press, you can see that you have all of these different shapes. I'm not letting go. I'm just kind of scrolling through them, clicking on my mouse. I want a circle, so I'm going to leave it under circle. Now, to draw your circle, you're just going to open it and draw. You want to hit shift with your other finger if you can from your other hand. That way it's proportioned. Once you let go of both, you can see you have your perfectly good circle ready to go. Because you are on the circle cursor, if you try to keep clicking on stuff, you're going to keep making circles. So that's not what you want. You want to make sure after you're done using any tool here, you go up to your selection tool, which is your cursor. Now I'm going to just, with my backspace button on my keypad, just delete all these other ridiculous circles that I drawn. To change the color on any shape, it's the third one down on your right-hand side. You want to make sure that you know that you have a stroke and a fill. Fill is the inside, the stroke is the outside outline. So if I change my stroke to a different color, most likely it's going to show up, maybe not right now, but when you print, it can possibly show. So it's always very important that you have your stroke and your color matching unless you want it different. So in my case, I'm going to leave it white and I'm just going to make the circle a little bit bigger. Now let's talk about resizing. How do you resize a shape over? You can use this here and you can resize by hitting shift and then just pulling in and out, and it's going to be proportioned. It's not going to be distorted. If you're not hitting shift, you're going to distort your circle and it's going to be a weird shape. It's not going to be a circle anymore. So very important for you to pay attention to that. Now, if I want to go ahead and add an image, which is a PNG image, I already has no background to it. I'm just going to do import and select the image that I want, which is this, and just bring it over. Okay. Now I am going to slightly just resize it. So I'm just going to bring it out again, hit shift, grab this little corner so it's not distorted or anything. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller and then just bring it right over the top where I want it to be. And there you have it. Super easy. I know I really didn't design this one in particular, but if you're wanting to design it from scratch, same thing. I'm just going to bring this out so you can see the third cursor to your left. Okay, you can type. It's your type tool. So if you really wanted to type something out, you can do Mendoza's tacos. Remember, keep in mind that you have to change the color of the lettering. So if I go ahead and use a black, it's going to go over to black. And I'm missing a letter here. So it's Mendoza's, again, selection tool. Shift, bring it smaller, and then you could eventually have it fit inside. And just whatever else you want to bring in here, you can. If you want to bring another image in, this is how you can custom make it 100%. But I already have an image, so let's go based off that. So I'm going to delete my text and just click on that layer and then delete. Bring this back over top. Now, before I actually do group this so I can make sure it's all cohesively together, you have to keep in mind that this is similar to Cricut in a way, but not as easy sometimes. In Cricut, you would just select everything, flatten it down, and it will actually know to print the image on the inside and just cut around the circle. In this case, you have to assign each layer a duty or a task, as I like to call it. You're going to click on the actual inside, which is this layer here, you can see, over to the right. And then you want to go to, I believe it's the fourth button down to your right-hand side. And you can see it says cut line type. It has nothing. It says here you can choose how you want the shape to be handled. when you send it to the cutter. So this is what I mean. You're assigning it a duty or a task. So you're pretty much telling this inside that you just want it to print only and not cut out. So you're not going to want to cut each letter out, then cut the circle around it. That makes no sense. So I'm clicking on this top layer here, and I'm going to drop down, and then it says print plus cut is cut only, print plus cut, print only. So I only wanted to pretty much print. So I'm selecting this layer and I'm telling it that I only want you to print. Now I'm going to click on the circle in the back, and it's already saying that it's going to cut. So I want it to cut only, which is this back layer, okay? Now that I have it to cut and then print, I'm going to select everything. I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit group. Now it's ready to go. Yes, even though you have a preview there and it looks like it's going to cut everything out separate, as long as you assigned each layer what to do, it shouldn't. 1, 2, 3, 4, or actually 1, 2 to your right hand side. Now I'm going to resize the sticker to 2 inches. Now I'm going to just do 2 and then hit enter. And now you can see I successfully have a 2-inch round sticker. Super easy, you guys. This is really easy once you get the hang of it. It can be an additional couple steps, but trust me when I say this, okay? Now, if I wanted to go preview this to see how it's going to cut or print, you can go up to your preview button and you can see it says show cut lines, which is showing your only cut line, which is this back. If you wanted to show printable or not, so I'm removing the printable so you can see where my cut line is at. And then you can also see remove that, and you can see you have your preview here. Super important, you can see the preview of the margins, print and cut registrations. It's all there. Now I'm just going to line this up, this sticker, as close as I can to my registration mark and my print margins. Yes, it's okay. I'm going to do Control D on my keyboard and you get duplicate. And this is where I want to duplicate as many times as I can, okay? And then I'm going to make the rows as well. So I made my columns and now I'm making my rows. So I have 5 rows and 4 columns. And I want to make sure this is all grouped together. But I also want to make sure that everything's inside my registration mark and print margins, which in this case, it's not. So you do have to have the spacing in between as less. So I'm just going to do 0.050. And then this one, I'll probably leave it under 0.060. And just kind of click it, and you can see that everything kind of just spreads out. You can add more spacing in between just by changing those decimals there. And you should be good to go. Okay. Now everything's grouped, duplicate, perfect. You can take off more space if you like. And we're good. We're good. I'm just going to hit OK. And then now you can see, I'm going to drag this down slightly. You can see everything is inside our print margin. Nothing's touching our registration mark. Okay. You guys can see my preview there. You guys can see what's going to cut out. My cut line is in red, so that's the only thing that's going to cut out. My printable is there. Show printable, it's gone. Show cut line, it's there. See, cut lines are there. Printable's gone because I unclicked it. And now it's telling you that these are 2-inch round stickers. Ready to go. So if you've gotten this far, you have successfully created your own 2-inch round sticker or your own sticker design in Create software. Now is the fun part. So let's go ahead and go on to the cutting part. Okay, amigas, now that we're going to go ahead and get started with our printer, printing off our stickers and cutting them out with our Starcraft Solo, I really wanted to come on here and jump in and let you guys know what sticker paper I currently recommend and I'm currently using. Now, I've tried out several from other brands, but let me just say one that really catches my eye and I keep going back to because it is such a good paper. It is a really good beginner paper as well if you're wanting something bright and you want your stickers to pop. Reality of it is not only does your printer have to have good quality, but you also really do need a good reliable sticker paper, which in my case, I love online labels. So this one here is the 100 pack white gloss for inkjet. As you guys can see, I have the code right here. It's OL177WG. I will also make sure to link these 2 packs of sticker paper down below in the description. But we are using our glossy one today. And I really wanted to show you guys the standard white matte as well. It's for inkjet or laser. This one is very inexpensive too, especially for my beginners. Don't sleep on this brand of sticker paper. You guys will not regret it. I also want to go ahead and let you guys know that I have a discount code with them as well, so you can get $5 off your next order down below. So make sure you really do take advantage of this and shop your sticker paper with them. Now that we are ready to go ahead and create these stickers, we're going to go ahead and do create here on the top right hand side. Here you will see a preview of all our circles that are showing that are going to be cut out. Keep in mind right now you're on the tab that says just cut. So anything here, you're just going to be cutting with. You want to make sure you're on your second tab here at the bottom left. It says print plus cut. This is the correct screen you want to be on if you're printing and cutting something. Now, keep in mind, I have settings already made in here for my particular stickers that I'm using, which is my online labels matte or glossy. I use that same pressure to cut on. Every force is going to be different based off your own cutting machine. So you do want to make sure you're adjusting that. And your speed, I like to keep it at 10. I think that's a good number. But as far as your force, you have to, it goes depending on how deep your blade is going onto the paper. So definitely keep that in mind and just don't go based off of my force. You do have to test out your own. To print, I'm going to go over to print. And then we are already on pigment printer. I'm going to go over to make about 5 copies because I want 5 sticker sheets. And we are going to just make sure that we're using the correct paper, which I'm using a, let's say, a photo paper glossy. I want high quality, 5 copies, more options. I'm going to do custom advanced, color controls, Adobe RGB to get me better quality. And I'm going to turn off my bidirectional printing, which just makes your printer print a lot faster and you don't get as good quality. So make sure that's off. Once I hit OK, I am going to just go ahead and simply go OK to print. So let's get printing. Okay, so we're going to let our printer finish printing the rest of the other stickers, but I have my first sheet here and I wanted to kind of show you guys how amazing these look. Now, they probably don't look as good on camera, but in person, you guys, these are super bright and vibrant. I'm using our pigment ink printer, which I had converted here in another video on my YouTube channel. So I'll link it somewhere up here so you guys can go ahead and check it out, okay? Now, I want to go ahead and let you guys know the second step that's very important. So remember how I mentioned your force is super important, and every force for every different machine is going to be different, as well as for every material. So if you're cutting sticker paper and you're cutting a specific brand of sticker paper, your force is going to be different than a different sticker paper. Now, it all depends on the thickness. I want kiss cut stickers, so I actually don't want them to cut all the way through. I just want them to cut through the top layer, and the back, I want it fully intact. So I'm using about a force of 20 something-ish, as you guys saw before on my screen, okay? Now, that's when I'm using my online labels matte or glossy. I really use that same force for both, and that is what works out for me. My second tip is to make sure when you are using a cutting mat, you want to make sure that your mat is not as bent up, okay? This, as you guys can see, is my Starcraft solo cutting mat, which comes with the machine. It does have an indentation on the back that you can clearly see where the wheels go through the middle. So because this is a little bent up, whenever I add my sticker sheet on here, what's gonna happen where it's bent up on, it's pretty much going to almost cut through, because when you're cutting, blade is going all over the place, and your mat is not completely flat, what happens is that it also makes that lift up in between your stickers, and it just pretty much can do like a miscut out of nowhere. And I noticed that a lot of people that have questions about why are my cuts looking all off and stuff, or it's scratching my paper or whatnot, it's also because of your cutting mat. So I know you can't always use a new cutting mat. So one tip is, if you want to gently, not hard, but gently bend your mat back, so that way this indentation kind of starts going away, or put like a flat book on it or something like that overnight, just so you can get your mat to go kind of back to normal. Or you can just use a semi-new mat, and this is a Cricut one that I have. You can see that it's slowly starting to have that crease, but it's not there yet. So I'm just gonna kind of bend it gently both ways, just so I can kind of have that dentation go away. The moment that I put my sticker paper on here, because this is almost a semi-new kind of mat, I'm not gonna have issues with any like miscuts in the middle because of that dent, okay? So that is a huge tip when it comes down to the solo that I will say. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my sticker sheet to my mat. And another quick tip that I wanted to go ahead and mention to you guys, that for Cricut, I know you usually go ahead and cut on the top left, but for the solo, you want to kind of get in the habit of putting all of your sticker sheets or any type of work, it starts cutting on the bottom right hand side. So it's just kind of good to get used to it. Now that my sticker sheet is on, I'm just going to use my brayer tool, and I'm just going to kind of gently press down, so we are ready to go. Here we are. Let's take it over to our cutting machine next. Alright, so now that we have our cutting machine turned on, I'm going to move the cutter head. This is the head. I'm going to move it over using our arrows. You never want to force it over, because that can mess up everything with your machine force and just stability and everything. So I'm going to move it over. Once it's all the way over to our left hand side, you also want to make sure your pinch rollers, which is this lever, is down to open up your rollers. If you lift it up, it's going to lock it in. If you lift it down, it's to pretty much lock it or open it up, sorry. Now I'm going to just make sure that each one of my rollers, as you guys can see here, I have 1, 2, 3 rollers. They're over like that grit shaft down there, over that gray part. And to move your rollers, you also have a lever, and you just simply have to grab them with force and move them over. But they're all where I need them to be, so we're good to go. Next thing is, I have my Cricut mat here, and this one specific. If you have any other mat, that's awesome. But you also want to kind of line it up over the 3 rollers. So kind of make sure all 3 rollers are on the mat, and just put it straight back. And that's kind of how I like to guide myself, so I can leave enough space here and leave enough space here. It's almost 2 fingers, or like spread out. That's this much space on each side. You just want to simply push it in through the middle. And you do have a line here, which I will get closer so you guys can see. We do have a line here that guides you. That's pretty much going to let you know that your mat is straight. So once it's in the middle between all of your rollers, you want to line up your mat on this little seam line there. Once it's lined up, you want to grab your lever and lift it to lock in your rollers. That way your mat doesn't move on you. And lastly, you have to move your blade, which is this blade tip. The actual tip, you want it right over that corner registration mark, so you want to line it up as best as possible. This might require you to get low and check it, but let's go ahead and do that so you can see how it's done. Okay, now that it's lined up over that corner registration mark, we're gonna go back to our screen and hit start scan. That way we can kind of get this show on the road so you guys can see. It's gonna scan 1 registration mark at the bottom right, bottom left, top right, and then it's gonna start cutting out the circles. This, I love this machine, you guys. Just check out how fast it is. I'm gonna leave it real time. Okay, there goes first registration mark, second, third, and now it's on to its 4th. After it reads all 4, it just starts to cut. To remove your mat, all you simply do is release that lever down and just simply pull out your print cutter. Your head here is going to be where it's at. You can automatically move it over if you're going to cut a different sheet, but this is the results. Now let's go ahead and peel so you guys can see the final results, and then we'll talk about thoughts or any questions you guys might have at the end. If you know you got a good cut, they should come off super easy. Before we take them off of the mat, I'm going to go in with my weeding tool. Just pick up that top layer of the sticker paper, just gently, as long as you can get like a little edge from there. I like to grab my weeding tool because I can never get it with my fingers. Once you have that, you're going to go ahead and start peeling back. And this is how you know you got a really good cut, if it peels this smooth and this easy, like butter, you guys. You guys saw that? And then you're left with this excess. And next, what I like to do so you're not tearing the backing, I like to gently flip my mat backwards, and I like to pull the mat back while I'm releasing the sticker paper from it. And these are the results. You guys can see the stickers are cut individually, the backing is still on, everything is super nice and bright. Of course, the printer also has its benefits too. The nicer quality printer you have, the nicer print you get. But look at the sticker paper, you guys. It cut amazingly. There's no jagged edges. The cutting machine did really good. It did its job. I have been really loving this Starcraft Solo for my printing cuts and my regular cuts. I have always been getting nice clean cuts with them. As long as you have your force adjusted correctly, you're always going to get really nice results. So let me know what you guys like and what you guys think of these stickers that I made using my Starcraft Solo down below. And amigas, and if you really did like this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up, you subscribe, and turn on your post notification bell to be notified every time I upload a video. I am back. I'm going to be uploading more videos for you guys to help you specifically on this machine. So if you guys want to follow along with me on my Starcraft Solo journey, which I have been enjoying so far, make sure you guys are subscribed. Leave me a comment down below of anything else that you guys want to see using this machine, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye, amigas!